Hello, seekers, confessors, wizards, Mord Sith, and members of the First File. Welcome to the 250th episode of the Sword of Truth podcast. We fucking got here, guys. Fuck yeah. Normally, this is a chapter-by-chapter reread of the Sword of Truth series with craft beer on the side. I am Nate, and I am here with Jade and Aaron. And today we are live on Discord with our patrons and celebrating 4 years of recording this very podcast.
It's a long time.
It is quite a time.
Yeah, you know, I didn't realize that that you were gonna put the time, because I was wondering that. I knew it was 250 episodes,
Yeah.
but I wasn't sure the timeline. So that's a long time.
Yeah. Well, what's nice is it's only felt like 8. So.
Wow.
Yes. 30 seconds in, and I almost got Nate to spit out his drink.
my coffee.
What? You need to be careful, okay? We have a whole thing on the board here about swallowing. You need to not do things when Nate is swallowing.
He swallows so much, though.
That's true.
I do. I mean, where's the lie? I like to swallow all manner of things.
Look, at some point, you need to know that I am hilarious.
Jeez, oh, Pete.
So you just can't drink while I'm talking. See, that's your fault right now.
What are you trying to prove? Are you trying to prove something right now?
Yeah, what are you trying to prove?
I'm trying to prove to myself that I will be able to do it. Insert penis joke here.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. It's
well,
definitely going to... Jackal King mentioned that it's going to take more than a year to do each book. And me and Nate have actually mapped it out that it, like over 7 years to finish this entire...
Yeah, it's going to take us quite a while.
And that's
I've got to pull it up.
Series, not the...
I thought if we continue with a chapter per week for the rest of just the Sword of Truth series, we're not even talking about Nikki Chronicles or Children of Dahara or any of that. It's going to take us to like 2031.
And that's not counting breaks.
Yeah, that's breaks. No breaks.
That would just
if
be
we
if we
release
did
an episode every single week. Yeah.
Yeah, we're planning on you guys living a long time. You guys have to stay alive for us.
That's our secret evil plot.
Yeah,
stay alive and live good lives.
Well, I want to kick this episode off.
Absolutely.
I want to dive kind of right into it, kind of looking back at 250 episodes, at almost 4 books complete. What's everyone's favorite moment so far? Because I kind of struggled with this.
Oh, you did?
Because I had a hard time remembering, like, everything that's happened.
That's true.
Because I know there was, like, it's weird because there's moments that I remember, but it's like, wait, that was a podcast discussion, not something that actually happened in the book.
Well, that's what I was going to ask.
Aww.
What are we talking about? Are we talking about our favorite moment from the book? Or are we talking about our favorite moment from the podcast?
And I think I'm just going to pick one and leave it up to interpretation. So I am going to pick something that happened recently. And here's a tease for you guys. But we recently discovered that I don't know.
Making a lot of eye contact right now.
Or I shouldn't say that I don't know, but I did not know that berries were fruits.
Oh, yeah.
And there is a recording out there of Jade.
Yeah, that one wasn't on
really
air.
into me on that. That will get released at some point.
I'm sorry. I can't help that. That is ridiculous.
If you guys are listening to the well, I'm assuming you are, but like the regular episodes, right at the end, I believe it was, Aaron goes, wait, berries a fruit? And you can hear Jade go, what? And then there's like 4 seconds of silence. And then I don't think we went into that, but I do have the entire record. It's like 15 minutes long.
Well, we went on a few tangents.
Yeah, I don't even remember what we were supposed to be doing, but that was hilarious.
I'm pretty sure
obviously
from a beer
we're
break.
recording
It was the
this.
beer break. I said it was a
That's
fruity
what
beer.
It was. We
and there's also
the beer break.
Yeah, it was like there's also berries in it. And Jade's like, wait, what?
Yeah, no, you questioned that berries were fruit, and I was like, what is happening to the world right now?
So
Who
that
raised you?
that
I have to go talk to Mrs. Duddles.
Yeah. She's a preschool teacher. You'd think that's
I
something she would have went over
I'm concerned.
when I was a child. But I do know that we've had a few gag reels as well, where it's just been like quick little 30-second moments.
Yeah. I've been trying to, if there's like a favorite clip, I'll throw it in at the end of an episode or something like that. Something that doesn't make it into the regular one.
So your interpretation of a favorite moment was from the podcast then?
Well, I'm going to, while you guys say your favorite moments, I'm going to try to think of one from the books. Because I have a few moments I really like from the books, but it's always hard to pick a favorite.
I'm going to say that I think it is interesting because I think if you asked me what my favorite moment from the book was before we did the podcast, it would have been different than after now. Because now that we've done the podcast, a lot of my moments from the books are skewed with our conversations.
They're changing, yeah.
That we've had on it. Like, I used to enjoy a lot more of some of Kaylin's moments than I do when I'm looking at it with a more critical eye. And I'm like, why the fuck are you acting that way right now?
It has been interesting for me knowing that Kaylin is your favorite character. And then like throughout, especially throughout Temple of the Winds, I mean, you give her a lot of flack throughout this book.
I think that she was not necessarily my favorite character. I think she was the main character that I liked a lot because I like Berdine, I think, a whole lot.
Berdine is fucking awesome.
And I think actually maybe my favorite moment of the story kind of lines up either way because I think my favorite moment overall is probably something in the realm of Berdine and Rhaena's interactions or like Rhaena's last moment. Something in there is very, very nice to me to read, or very not nice because it's sad at the end, but that or the nipple just
go on.
When Berdine was being possessed and Richard figures it out and then is like he makes them all she's all like freaking out and like no and I know it seems weird because it's like but it's just his deduction skills, and then because it was right after the Catherine thing, I enjoyed the whole series of Berdine's been acting weird this whole fucking book, and then now he's like, show me your tits, and he figures it out.
That's pretty early on in my deductive reasoning stage as well.
Yeah, just gotta check
show
the
me
tits
your tits
first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been struggling with my golf swing. I feel like I'm dropping my back shoulder.
Yeah.
Well, let me see your tits.
Yeah.
Hey, this is for science. Okay.
Yeah.
Science.
Yeah. I was
Movies.
so I'm gonna pipe in again, even though technically it's your turn because
I wasn't
Dan,
even done yet.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Dan brought up a good point.
I was just going to say I also really enjoyed Goddammit Carl. That was probably the last thing, which was a podcast thing.
Yeah.
That was probably one of my favorite podcast things so far. We gave that kid so much crap.
Yeah.
For doing nothing wrong.
Horny Terry.
Horny Terry is arguably just one of my overarching favorite things about the book.
Just that he exists.
Yes.
I mean, look, so we've kind of realized a bit of a pattern. We read Harry Potter. We all love Harry Potter, and the author of that can be controversial. And Terry, in his own right, has been controversial. But because of that, nobody talks about him in any other way and then the whatever articles you see online. So it's just like, no, dude's being horny right now, and that's fine.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Horny Terry is usually very funny.
I'm so glad that I came up with Horny Terry. I think the first time we ever brought Horny Terry up, I had written it as a note, and then I was thinking about deleting it, but Jade saw it, and she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad. Because I think the clip that wasn't meant for the episode.
Oh, yeah.
Because you said it out loud first, and I was just like, gosh, I don't know if that's okay or not.
Oh, yeah.
And then everybody was like, yes, thank you.
Yeah. I did see somebody. Oh, here I have.
We've got some
the
answers
Discord
here
on
too.
my phone. I can just I can scroll. I don't need to make you do it. Hold on.
I can hit a few here. Dan says, as a new patron, I gotta say, being able to go back through the side quests from years ago and listening to those episodes, that is something that I've started to do a little bit, is listening back to our old episodes. I'm always pretty particular about the mic quality and the way we sounded. I know we sound way better now than we used to. So even though I'm like, aw, this is fucking awesome. I'm like, oh, doesn't sound super though.
I want to listen back. Number one, we have a lot of content, so it's going to take me a long time to go back through them all. But my other thing is the only time I have to listen to anything is like on my breaks at work, really. And then I'm in my car, and people can hear kind of what I'm listening to. So I think it's just I have like anxiety about people hearing me listening to myself.
Dude, I get the same thing. I'll listen in the mornings when they post just to make sure I didn't forget something I was supposed to edit out or whatever. And then I'll pull into the shop in the parking lot and just regular volume. And I realize that it's got to sound like when people talk on the phone.
Yeah.
In their cars. It's much louder outside than you realize it is. And so whenever I'm listening to the show, like, that's got to be happening. They're like, what the fuck is Nate listening to?
Yeah, because they can hear they can tell that it's your voice, kind of.
Oh, yeah, especially at work where it's your coworkers. They know you're listening to you.
That's what I think. That's why I don't do it. That's why I haven't listened back to everything, because it's like, no, that's weird.
You should
that's
do it
weird,
really
right?
loud on Halloween, and then someone asks you, well, who were you yelling with this morning in your car? Be like, I drove alone. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I would say you guys have picked up on it, but these are also questions for you all, dear patrons. We definitely, like I said, you guys have already been chiming in, but yeah, any question we pose today is for everyone.
100%.
I just want to, okay. So everyone has Discord names, so I don't know what your real names are. And if you post it, honestly, it's good. I wish I would be able to like put it in there, but like Shadowstorm, even if he writes down who he is, I'm not going to be able to keep track of it, probably.
Yeah, no, we'll go by, I think we've said that before. We'll just go by.
That's fine. It just.
Their posted name.
Jackal Kings. Okay. So Shadowstorm.
Yeah, I know who at least a few people are.
Mentioned that Rachel scolding Chase for not listening to her was also a good moment.
Oh, yeah.
And I agree with that.
Yeah. I think actually, so that I saw that and I've realized I think that's my favorite moment is every single moment between Rachel and Chase.
Oh, yeah.
I loved every single moment of that. But also, Mary brought up a good point. The ball eating. There's a lot of there's been some ball eating in the books. And I don't know if I want to say it's my favorite moment, but I do enjoy it.
But it wasn't bad.
It happened and it made me laugh. Okay, well, I think this kind of segues pretty well then.
Can I bring up one more thing?
No.
I just realized this.
No, I'm just kidding.
Not allowed.
I think one of my Al says the apple scene in the lodge.
Yeah.
That's also a fantastic one.
Oh, yeah.
It's the first time they're all hot and heavy with each other, but they're still not quite to the point where they're sure it's okay.
Yeah.
But it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, one of my favorite podcast things right now is the fact that you have never read the books before, Aaron.
Yeah.
And that this is something Jade and I have known about and have read our way through and enjoy very much. And now we get to like put all of that on you. the burden of enjoying that on you. But so whenever you come over, we get a rough sense of your attitude as you come down the stairs with how you say hello to us. And so we know what happened in the chapter and why that relates exactly to your greeting when you get here to the studio.
Yeah,
and it tickles me pink every single time. Raina chapter, you're like, hey guys, real shitty.
Yeah,
chapter where Richard is being all badass in the Temple of the Winds. You're like, what's going on, guys? Fuck yeah.
Typically, I give the chapter one more listen on the way over at like 1.5 or 2 times speed
to like mood for the day.
Yeah, well, and it's a way to just be like, all right, oh yeah, yep, this happened, because I make notes and do all that, but it just puts me in the right mood set. Unfortunately, the right or mindset, not mood set. I guess mood set works too, though.
Yeah.
Is that? I don't know. I don't
mind
know if that's
mood.
A thing.
Mind mood set. I don't know. We'll workshop it. But yeah, that usually will put a damper on my mood sometimes, but it does make me it affects me sometimes, some of these chapters.
I'm glad, because had you been like, yo, I kind of want to do this podcast with you guys, it seems fun, and then you don't enjoy the books that much, that would have sucked. So I'm glad that you have gotten on the train with us, as it were.
Want to say that's not how that happened, though.
No, that's not how it went down. I'm just saying, like, 10,000-foot view.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we have somebody that hasn't read the books that is like, yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
We got one.
Yeah. Yeah. Aaron just happened. You brought him to me at a bar one day, and you were like, he's been listening to us for a while.
When you guys met for the first time.
Yeah. He's like, hey, we're already 30 hours into this friendship. Let's go. And I was like, okay, hi.
That's when you realize people are out there and they're listening, and it's like, wow, you know me already.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Every time that we get a message or anything, it like checks me a little bit. But it also is nice because I have a lot more friends than I realize a lot of times when I'm being all like, meh.
Well, yeah, I know. So Nate and I were coworkers, and he is the one who got me into the books. And yeah, and like he said, you know, the whole podcast started was because you guys realized that it was like, man, there's not a lot of content out there that's not from Terry. Well, that's true. There is content, and the content that's out there is pretty good. But like you said, it was like there wasn't really podcasts about it or any of that, and you were just like, fuck it, we're gonna make one.
Yeah, why not us?
Like, yeah, let's make. We can't find the kind of the community we're looking for, so we're gonna make our own.
And the other thing is, there are communities out there that talk about, like, there's Facebook groups, right? I have anxiety, so I am not going to, like, post, if I'm going through the books, I'm not going to post a post on Facebook to a group being like, hey, these are my thoughts, somebody talk to me. Where some other people might, right? So in order for me to be able to discuss what I feel about these chapters, like, this is the only way for me
that you're more comfortable doing that.
Right. For me to be able to do that and have other people be like, yes, understand that, and get for each individual part. Like, I don't know. There was a part of me that always wanted to, we talked about this, like, break it all down and go through it like this. Yeah. And I didn't have anyone to do it until Nate read the books, and now I don't know. It's just sharing that
You would just be itching. You would be waiting at the bathroom door for me to finish a chapter so that you could drop some knowledge on me of shit that I obviously missed.
She was waiting. She was waiting for you to drop some knowledge so she could drop some knowledge.
Exactly.
On you.
Yeah.
Poop joke.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And then reading everybody, like, I have Dan and Sarah, and everybody is like, yeah, it brings us all together. Yeah, it's, I don't know. It's nice knowing that there are other people out there that are feeling the same way, and then doing this brings us all something.
Ted Fisher's just pointed out that he's rereading the series right now, but he's ahead of where we are in the books, so he catches himself wondering what we're going to say once we get to that chapter.
Yeah.
So it's like, listen again and then see how it compared. That's fucking cool.
Yes. And that's what, like, Al says something about this here, too. He's holding back information from later books so that he doesn't spoil. And that's the same thing that I struggle with.
Dude, I feel your pain. I really do.
Yeah, there's stuff that I know what's going to come up that I'm like, okay, we want, but I'm excited for it. Because once we get there, we have the time in between chapters to go back, dive into those other books that were previous, that are, you know, important. You know, the things that are stirring us talking about later books now. When we're in those later books, we can go back. We'll have the time to go back to the previous books, look through them, and bring those topics up too, even if it's not in the actual chapter, to a side quest.
Yeah,
for that.
100%.
So those exciting moments that I had reading them by myself or reliving them with you, we'll be able to have as a group.
Yeah.
And actually have a full-ass discussion as a group of people with brains. Good brains.
Like-minded folk with good minds.
I like it.
I've realized that's also been kind of one of my subtle secret favorite things is when we talk about something, and then especially if like I make a comment or like one of you guys will make a comment, and then all of a sudden you guys stop talking and then just look at each other, and I'm like, I think this might come up
later.
There's
something there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think this kind of segues into
he says poker face, guys.
Well, they have a poker face, but unfortunately the only time they use it is when they're trying to hide something.
Is right next to a very strong tell. So
but I was also kind of curious because mine well, I guess I don't know, I was gonna say it's not really a secret at this point, but just favorite characters so far, because I find, and I'm sure this is not going to be a surprise to anyone, but it's not necessarily the main characters that I enjoy the most in this book series.
Who's your favorite? I'm curious.
I
was going to ask you this the other day, but I didn't.
I've realized, like, since it got brought up again today, I think it's a 3-way tie. But by a 3-way tie, it's a 2-way tie.
Couple Mord Sith and Kaylin?
No. Rachel and Chase together.
Okay, yes. Yeah.
But then also, because I now have headcanon for them, Ulick, Egan, and Berdine. I have headcanon of those guys just going off and doing weird adventures together, and I think that's fantastic, and I want them to be not dead at any point, and I want them to have fun and be happy. I like those guys.
Yeah.
We'd been joking about doing a D&D campaign with Ulick and Egan and running an adventure. So if any of you know how to DM, you should hit us up, because that could be a lot. We could do a game with our patrons. I mean, we could.
You just
it would take a lot of work. I realize this, but
I was gonna say, you put it out on a recording that's going out, bud.
Well, you can't edit audio.
No, can't edit audio.
Nothing I can do.
It's a shame. That'd make this so much easier. But yeah,
my favorite character would probably be Berdine, or I like Gratch.
Oh yeah, Gratch.
And my favorite character that was a character in the book, but I think that we made more was Scarlet. Like, I think that we
awesome.
made Scarlet something that she wasn't necessarily in the books fully. Like, she wasn't fully realized into her final form.
Yeah.
By that you mean Richard's lover?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we know what was actually implied. It just wasn't said.
Yeah.
So,
they did some of that good fucking.
They did. Yes. They did. He slayed the dragon, if you know what I mean.
I love that you love Scarlet. I forgot about her and the whole arc we had, and that is... Oh my God, yes.
I fucked that dragon.
I noticed, though, that I'm looking through the chat right now with our patrons. Nobody has named just one person. Everybody in here is just like, yo, it's Chase, Warren, and Zed, or let's see here. Karos is very cliche, but I love Richard and Kaylin. And then also Kara, Zed, and Warren, and Berdine. So many.
I do like Zed and Nathan as well. They're like two sides of a coin.
Yeah.
So he's Donkey from Shrek.
Yes. Yes, basically. That's exactly who he is.
You know,
There's a meme. There's a meme out there.
I just realized that in the last couple of chapters is the reflection between Zed and Nathan.
Yeah.
Where it's like they're both, technically grandparents, although one is more of a great
whatever.
Great grandpa, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, just the difference between the two of them.
He's not Grunkle. Because he's not really... He didn't have any kids.
Yeah, that's true. More of a Grunkle. Yeah. But what about you, Nate?
My favorite character?
If you say Nathan.
He will.
Nathan is my favorite character.
I
love Nathan so much. He's
a
Jack
wizard
Sparrow.
pirate, basically. See?
With a sword.
I knew it, yeah.
He's got Jack Sparrow energy.
Yeah.
He's always up to some bullshit.
Yeah.
He causes good trouble. You know what I mean? Like, I love characters who do that.
I do like that he was a prisoner and now...
And also, Nathan from the book is pretty cool.
I do like that he was held captive and now he can be like, hey, we're cool. I get it. We're like, I could be like, you're on the good side, so I'm on your side.
Yeah.
But also, fuck you.
Yeah.
And I'm not like... I like the way he stands up to the authority that keeps trying to, put him down.
There's something about him, like, wizards can have swords, right? Like, Gandalf famously has sword and staff. It's kind of his thing. But, like, Nathan, in the Sword of Truth series, wizards don't fucking need swords. But he's got one. He also wears pants. He doesn't do the robe thing. Mm-hmm. He's like, yeah, I'm a wizard, but I'm a little different from your average typical wizard. I'm also 1,000 years old and a prophet. What?
See, Kara is a fan favorite also. I like her.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just feel like maybe because we've seen a lot of her in the TV show as well, she's Mord Sith. You know what I mean? She's a very, like, box. She gets outside of it, right? Mm-hmm. She keeps pushing the bound. Like, she is following her storyline, which is beautiful, and we love Kara. She just, like, of the Mord Sith, she's not my top, I don't think. Because I think, like, you have so many different flavors.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, and like Dan brought up in the Discord chat, like it's a testament to Terry's writing that we can get attached to these side characters.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of times the side characters are like really well written.
Yeah.
And I'd like them a lot. It's something that it's like I enjoy, like when a new chapter comes out and there's a new name in it. It's like, fuck yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
And because it's something that like a lot of book series, they focus on the main characters and then everyone else is, for lack of a better term, an NPC. They don't really have a character. They don't have personalities. They're just there to like drop some plot information or, you know, help the main characters and then fuck off and go away. But it's like, no, we get people for a book and a half, 2 books at a time, and they're great.
Now listen, I know that we may have to. I'm going to say this really quickly. I just feel like fuck. I had a thought.
Oh no. Side character Scarlet. Rachel Chase.
Go to break, okay. And I'm going to rethink about it.
Well,
I lost it.
I think it's important that we let Jade get her thoughts and feelings
that is
together.
Important because my brain went frozen.
So we're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be back right after this. And we are back. Today, we are drinking some No Rules from Perrin, and I know what you guys are thinking. What? You're thinking, no, I don't care what you think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just to clarify.
You guys are thinking, didn't you guys drink this already? No. Well, we did, but also no. We are drinking the No Rules coffee variant.
Yeah.
So like I said, Perrin, it releases every year. They have a special No Rules release. This one, the coffee variant, is a 15% Imperial Porter made with coconut, turbinado sugar, and a special local coffee roast from Morning Song Coffee Roasters, which sounds like a great coffee roasting place.
Yeah.
And it's all laid down to age in bourbon barrels for 7 months. So, I'm just going to get right into it because we got other shit to talk about. I really like this. This is a solid. I'm gonna say 9. I'm gonna say 9. It's a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
9 out of 10 roasted coffee beans.
Roasted beans?
That's what I'm saying. Coffee beans specifically.
I was gonna give it an 8. I think they have been experimenting, and we would have to go back and read the backs of the cans for how long they are aging the bourbon barrels, because I believe over the different years they've done the No Rules release, they've aged it for different amounts of time. And the more I think about these, the more I kind of want to know, which one did I like more? Did they age it longer, or did they age it for less time so the bourbon was more forward?
Look at you being a
Well, think about how many...
I very seriously considered starting a Michigan beer podcast.
How
we
many
now
barrels?
live again in Beer City, USA, or adjacent to it.
How many barrels 8 years ago did they tack away, and how many versus 4? You know, math.
Yeah, lots of maths.
This one does say several months, so I am guessing less than a year. So this one's pretty fresh, all things considered.
I also just have to mark it down a couple points.
Fair.
Because I'm pissed. I don't like the cans, and that's just the way it is. So it's getting a 7. I drink it a lot, and I'm a little, I'm not feeling like, super duper buzz, but I'm okay.
So we've each had a third of a can. And I do feel a little warmth from the bourbon.
But normally I would have a third of a giant-ass bottle, and I'd be a lot happier.
I'm curious, though, objectively. Can outside of the factoring in, how is the beer?
I think it tastes all right.
Just by itself.
Tastes all right.
See, this is another thing I was curious about, and I know we're gonna move on here in just a second, but when you get a can of Coke versus when you get a can of Coke,
yeah,
and I was gonna say bottle of pop, but when you get the can in a bottle versus can or glass, I should say. Wow, I said can in a glass. When you get Coke in a glass versus Coke in a can, it does have a different flavor, and so I got to imagine that this beer is the same.
I think so. I also think, here's the thing. They've done coffee, no rules before.
Yes.
So was it a flavor that I was not expecting?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, they do. They partner up with different like local coffee growers, roasters. I don't know what the proper term is.
Yeah, and it's good.
Yes.
But is it something that I would like, fall all over my fucking self to get next year? No, probably not.
Yeah. That's It's at least once a year or every other year. They always do a coffee variant.
Okay, you know what? Nobody else cares about what we're talking about right now.
Good point. That's a good point.
Keep going.
So, I think jumping into not so much related topic, but you guys brought up the fact that, so you guys have read this before. I have not. I try not to read far ahead. I try to go chapter by chapter. Which I do think that like we've also said, there's times when that might be hurting my experience with the book. But you guys said that you were curious what like the most surprising moments, or any other first time thoughts that I've had. And definitely.
Keep talking, Aaron.
Just read the chat.
Push through.
I'm trying. I think one of the most surprising moments for me. Oh, honestly, book 1, the shit with Denna. That is just like, Nate, you told me that this was like, hey, this is a book series for adults. They do adult things. Stuff happens. I was not prepared for the level of detail that was gone into when Richard and Denna first locked eyes, shall we say. So that definitely took me for a surprise.
Are you talking about the eye locking or the genital locking? Like, what are we talking about, actually?
Yep, all of it.
Okay. Because like 2 separate times.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where it's like, I've read other book series where they broach the topic of non-consent and other things similar to that, but usually it's like, and then this was gonna happen, and then they end the chapter and go to a different character's perspective. And then next time we pick up with these characters,
it's like
4 days have gone
violence by. Kind of, it's implied, but it's not actually written about.
It's specifically with the sexual content. So it was one of those things where it was like, oh, this is not 50 Shades of Grey, but we're going into it.
Yeah.
Coitus interruptus.
Coitus interruptus. Yes. Yeah, so that is definitely something that was surprising at first. Unfortunately, I think that kind of made everything else like the next time surprising or gruesome or anything stuff would happen, I'd be like, well, yeah, like, I know what these book series, or I know what these books are now. So it's I'm not as shocked by that.
Were you shocked at the sexy time in this book?
It wasn't so much of a shock of as much as it was, I don't know the right word, because it was like, I knew, like, once the scene started, I was like, oh, he's gonna go into it. But at the same time, by no means did I expect a bloody blowy. I did not expect that, but it didn't necessarily, like, shock me.
You weren't like, oh shit, you were like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, and, and it's one of those things where it's, like I said, we've had discussions, it got hot and heavy in the Spirit House and stuff, so it's like, yeah, this one was a little bit even more explicit with as far as, like, actual technique goes. But, yeah, it's like, it's whatever. Okay. We're used to it in the book series. It's come up. But the other thing that I was curious on was there stuff that you guys forgot about that, like, re-surprised you reading back on these books?
I think that there was a lot of little shit that I definitely had forgotten about. And I think a lot of the stuff with the sisters, like in these last few books, was like Verna and Warren and all this bullshit that they had to go do and sneak into the other camp, and Verna being like, I'm gonna take my sisters no matter what. Yeah, no, I could never forget how much of a dick Dreffin was. Like, that was the thing that I was like, Dreffin, asshole, bloody blowy. Those were the two things I remembered from this book no matter what. That I was like, yep, Richard goes into the underworld. Those were the three things that I remembered that happened.
I knew the bloody blowy was coming.
Yeah.
Right? The thing that surprised me most, and you all got to actually hear that hit me in real time on the episode, where Walsh and Verna are in the same room together.
Oh, yeah.
And I had written it in the notes, but it was kind of one of those passive things like, okay, they know each other, so this is going to happen. And then as we're reading it on air, I realized what I had typed, and I was like, oh, of fucking course they do. And I had gone back and looked, and it was like books ago that they met each other. And I was just like, oh, this is my official third time reading through the books. I'm got a notoriously bad memory. But yeah, so once I realized that, I was like, holy fuck, I had commended this whole series for tying into itself. Books back and forward, and like once you finish it, you can really appreciate what it's a whole ecosystem unto itself. It's fucking great. I always forget that. And so that kind of stuff happens to me, like literally every few chapters. I'll be like, fuck, I didn't remember that.
Yeah. Well, and that's why it's good to have our listeners that keep us accountable for shit that we don't remember, because especially going through like this, we are, sucking in to each chapter so tightly. Don't with your face. That's hard to like Nate. wide picture, which is why I think it's important to do these episodes every so often, though, to like big picture this shit. But yes, Caro, that's exactly like, okay, the sisters, but also Clarissa, for sure. From the time I'm like, okay, I remembered Clarissa was in this book. I remembered that Nathan was like enamored with her. Fuck if I remembered anything else.
It's been a struggle.
There he is,
I know. I brought it up with you guys. Like, it's been a real struggle for me to be like, oh yeah, that was in the last chapter. Wait, no, that was the last chapter we recorded.
Yeah.
Wait. No. Which chapter's releasing? Because we're like, we're like 4 or 5 weeks ahead right now.
I just want to say that
Something
most
like
of
that.
our listeners,
it's tough.
I feel like the majority of our listeners are not this is not their first time reading.
Mm-hmm.
So you are probably like the only person that didn't, at the time of recording that episode, that didn't know Clarissa.
Yeah.
Like at the, how do I say this? At the time of this release, would not know that Clarissa is dead if you're listening.
Correct.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
So
soft spoiler for like 2 weeks from now. But yeah, Clarissa was someone that, as a side character, kind of going back to that, it was like, at first it was like, I don't know how I feel about this, but towards the end it was like, I don't know, she ended up being more sympathetic. It was interesting.
I think this ties into what you were saying about the side characters and how they are more vivid sometimes, because our main characters are very static. They have one thing that they're focusing in on and trying to be and do.
Mm-hmm.
And they are affecting the rest of the world. So, like, you have Clarissa and Nathan, who's arguably a main character, I would say. Not that he is not, anyways. But I remember us having a discussion where you're like, Clarissa is a fucking badass in this one. And that's her arc. Terry has taken her from a naive, you could say, girl who doesn't know much about the world to somebody who's seen some shit, done some shit, risked her life to make the world better, succeeded, and then comes out with the confidence of somebody who's done something like that. She turned into a whole person.
Mm-hmm.
If she started 2D, she is now very much 3D.
Yeah.
And Good Kind's good at that shit. I like that.
Yeah. I also was there any other things that you guys had forgotten that you're surprised at, or was it mostly just those two?
Well,
you don't have to come up with something else if it didn't happen.
No,
I didn't want to move on if there was.
I have something. It's just related very much to the very end of the books. And so now going through and doing the reread and seeing certain things that I wasn't paying attention to before I know, like, the big ultimate reveal at the end, how many of those are actually being referenced? And I just can't say them on the show.
Oh, okay.
There are a lot.
I think I'm just surprised at some of the questions I have. Like I want to do a side quest about the Sliff because I have questions, and I don't know that we have answers to all of them. Even after reading all of the books, I'm confused about some things with that. And then, God damn it.
That'd be a good idea to go live, maybe with some of our patrons who might have some more insight that we missed or something like that.
Onto it, yeah.
When we do these regularly.
Yeah. We can keep moving. I've drank a little bit now, and so I had two really good ideas, and then I kept reading things, and now my brain has
the chat is distracting.
Yeah, I got distracted. So we can move on, and I might just shout out later what I remember, and that'll be fine. Everyone will be great with that.
I don't think anyone expects anything less.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys brought up earlier, you were asking me like what my future thoughts of the book series were, and it's very difficult for me to think of that because
tell where it's all going.
Well, and it's one of those things where once I have at the end of book 1, it was like, oh, okay, well, I think it's gonna head this way, and then it slows down, it doesn't progress as much as I think it will. Not saying that's a negative. I'm like, oh, well, they're gonna have to move forward with this, but something comes up, and now we are sidetracked, because Richard gets taken prisoner. Because that's book 2, right? He gets taken prisoner in book 2 to the palace of the prophet, to the pop.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, okay. I was not listening very much to what you were just saying. My only thing was just timeline. It was just I know everyone has a very... That's that. Yeah.
Yep.
Al.
There it
that,
is.
exactly.
Nailed it.
The timeline.
The timeline.
There is something that we have not encountered yet, I believe, that points to a specific timeline happening in this book that we can't talk about fully until the next book, I think.
Yeah.
But
I think I know what it is.
It makes it fucking confusing.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I know I have been checking the wiki, and they have actually put years on it.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the other things that we have. Carula's made the map. I want to be able to post that regularly so we can keep track of where everybody is in the timeline.
Al just said we don't get to the end of the first full year until the beginning of the Faith of the Fallen. And we can't break this down fully right now, right? Because we haven't gotten there yet.
Got 2 more books.
But
wow. I guess
considering some of the things that we know, it is just, and I'm not arguing with you at all. It is just the amount of things that have happened. It is just mind blowing that would be the amount of time that has happened from the time that we meet Richard until the 5th book because of the amount of things. And I'm not saying
about
that you're wrong about
that
it.
Happened.
I'm just saying
it's incredible that it's
we are
in
going
so
to have
closely.
to have a broken down conversation, I feel like, about this because it seems incredulous.
I think that'd be fun to do as a in between books thing, is then to just go back and be like, all right, here is the timeline for when this happened, how it happened,
how
where
long
everyone
this
was.
thing happened, how long it took
that'd be a fun little
for this thing to happen.
Thing.
Something specifically in Temple of the Winds that I've always been confused about and am still confused about is Ricker and everything that happened before Richard goes into the temple. We read through it, and I remember a couple of episodes thinking, okay, he went there and he did a thing, and Jade, you tried a couple of times now to explain what it was that specifically happened, and we don't have to get into it right now, but that's something that I've always I just have less of a tight grasp on than I would like to fully understand the implications of what Richard does later. Or in the temple, just that scene where he's in there in all power and he knows everything, and it's just how does that all specifically tie in? I struggle with it. much like the timeline stuff, every time you bring up like, well, how long has it been since this? I shrug because I really don't know.
Well, yeah, and I think what doesn't help too is like I'm assuming that there is like time difference between Richard in the temple and Kaylin in the real world. You know, like I like we get told Richard is in there for weeks, a few weeks, all that stuff, but also it says time doesn't exist there. So
right,
how does he know it's been a few weeks if time doesn't exist there?
If we haven't even been to the end of the first full year, he hasn't even known Kaylin for a full year yet.
That's true.
Yeah.
Let alone anything else.
Sometimes you don't need a full year, but also they moved real quick.
Yeah. Like her whole duty and no, okay.
So I think it's happened enough times now in book 4 already that moving forward, I don't expect Richard and Kaylin to be together that much. It seems like every time stuff starts going well, something happens and they immediately have to leave for what I argue so far, pretty bad reasons. Like, no, most of the stuff that they split apart to do would be better if they did it together.
So what you're saying, Aaron, is that you are having an issue with the amount of time that Richard and Kaylin get to spend together?
Mostly. No, I'm saying
welcome to the fandom, buddy.
I would say like my prediction, aka prophecy, moving forward is I am predicting, they don't spend a lot of time
that
together.
They're going to be separated again at some point.
I'm sure they are.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I also, I'm expecting, and so this one is more closer. I am not expecting a Richard and Zed reunion in this book.
Well, Richard's gonna die right now, like as far as we are in the books right now.
Yeah, he's stuck in. I believe he is. Well, he's about to leave the temple, is where we're at right now.
Oh fuck, I can't even.
No, that's what.
As far as recording,
yes.
We're like at a point.
Well, yes, yeah, but yeah, he is about to leave the temple. We just found out 2 things that Richard had to agree to that that Darkin came up with. And one of them was that he had to forget all the knowledge.
Yes.
And then the other one was a secret, because fuck us, apparently.
And you still do not know the secret. Nobody put it in the chat if you're listening now.
No. We know the secret.
I might have just spelled it.
No, you didn't. Oh. That's why I said what I said. Oh. No, you're good.
But you have an idea of what the secret is?
Yeah, I know what the secret is. I do.
We haven't recorded it yet.
However.
Oh, you've read the chapter?
No.
Oh.
However,
I'm just trying to gauge, is this a guess or do you know for real?
However,
you seem very confident.
However, I think I think that's going to be one of those things that is like at the beginning of the next book, is that Richard and Zed meet again. Cuz I don't think Richard dies. Also prophecy. I don't think Richard dies.
Interesting.
Yeah. Or if he dies, he comes back, okay? Like, maybe he's already been in the underworld, so it's like, he's dead. He's gonna come back.
Has it ever occurred to you that possibly Richard is not the main character?
No, he's the main character. Him and Kaylin are the 2 main characters. Okay,
that's fine. I was just fucking with your head.
We know who Terry Goodkind is as an author. Terry is definitely Richard.
You were dead, it didn't take.
I am so confused right now about where we are. As far as I've read the whole book.
I know, it's a struggle.
Recorded a certain amount.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Released a certain amount. I don't know what the fuck is happening now.
I can help this out. I want to open up this last little bit before we close out to kind of an ask us anything type deal. If anybody in the chat has any questions that they wanted to ask us, please feel free. I'm just seeing all the quotes right now. If you die, walk it off, Captain America.
God, it's such a fucking great quote.
Oh, I love it so much. I also want to point out right here, Dan the Anxious says, my wife and I were together for about 3 months before I knew I wanted to spend the rest of my life with her.
Oh, yeah.
That's fucking incredible.
Yeah, it can happen.
Jade and I were also not together for very long before we got married.
Yeah, I'm not like talking shit about
Year
that.
and a half?
I'm just talking shit about Richard and Kaylin because they're in a book that I can analyze.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, it does happen, obviously.
Yeah.
It's not an indication of the strength of love you feel for another person based off of time.
Because we know what happened in this book, okay? That's all. I was like specifically about the Richard and Kaylin and her fucking him, but him thinking it was somebody else. That whole fucking...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That whole thing. That's what I was referencing. I think that's not an indication of what's going to happen with your marriage if you only know somebody for a small amount of time.
I think they call it growing pains. I think that's what they're going through right now. They're just learning about each other.
There's definitely that. Yeah.
They're just learning
exactly.
about
Richard
each
just
other.
being petty.
I was just physically assaulted.
I missed it.
I know this isn't video, so you guys just got to take
He's
my word for
lying.
it. But I was just physically assaulted.
Hey, we're doing a podcast. Focus.
Well,
Pixar, it didn't happen.
I have a question for you guys. And I want to clarify.
Oh, no.
This is not book related whatsoever.
Okay.
If you owned a boat or a plane, what would you name it?
Are you asking me what I'd name my boat? 'Cause
Yes.
I have already had my answer for 3 years.
Yeah.
Jade's Fortune.
Oh, yeah.
100%. It's the Jade's Fortune.
I hate how adorable you two are.
I know, that's my fucking shit, dude. The Blackbeard named his ship the Queen Anne's Revenge. It wasn't initially called the Revenge. He named it that because his whole life was dedicated to basically dismantling everything Queen Anne did. He hated her very, very much. If you play Sea of Thieves, the captain named his ship Athena's Fortune.
Yeah, Athena's Fortune.
Yes, because that was his like soulmate. And so I always, it's like, if I got a boat, it would be Jade's Fortune. My dad's boat's name was Primetime.
Oh, I like that.
It was fucking cool.
That's pretty
I'm
good.
not going to lie. It was awesome. But so I've been thinking about like, I've always wanted a boat. I grew up on the Big Muskegon right by Hardy Dam. That's fucking where that's where my heart is and my soul stays from my childhood. And so I've been thinking about boat names since I was like 5 years old.
I liked Bonnie Star.
Bonnie Star, that's my boat.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure not many of you do. But if anybody plays Sea of Thieves and you see the Bonnie Star around on the Sea of Thieves, that's me. And Jade, most likely.
I also...
And the Jade's Fortune is actually my galleon on Sea of Thieves.
If it was up to me, I would probably just name it Shiny Dillo because that's my alternate.
Shiny Dillo.
Yeah, because that's my alternate. Like I have Killer Pie. That's my killer. That's my name. Because Pie is my nickname, and Killer Pie I think is very clever. Oh, Tasto, it's funny.
Tasto and Bowie. I got wood.
But I like.
I love it.
But I like Shiny Dillo because I like armadillos and shiny things. So that's my alternate screen name on things. If I have to name something, it's usually that.
I would want to try to find something that's not...
That's what I would like to be more clever, but that's, if I'm under pressure, that's what I'm naming something.
I love the idea of, like, Unsinkable 4. Like, that's... I just... It's not clever. I didn't come up with it. It's
Titanic
been done
2.
before. But yeah, Titanic 2, Unsinkable 4. I really like that. But yeah, like for like a plane, I've realized that like with I was thinking of like another punny name on a plane, but
that's how we troll.
Biplane, but not because it's a biplane, but because like I'm bi.
No,
that's clever, though.
That's not bad though.
That's what I'm saying.
Not bad.
That's what I'm saying.
No, I realized as I was
you paint it in the Bally flag colors.
As I was trying to think of a name for a plane, I realized that most people are never going to see the name. It's not like planes pass by each other like boats do.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Because like I'd want to be like it's like the plane would be like, am I upside down? Like just something stupid. Yeah, most people aren't going to see it.
That's too long.
That too. I'm going to be rich. It's going to be a big plane.
It doesn't matter.
Each window will be in the shape of a letter.
Oh my gosh. No.
If I ever get a boat, it's because I listen to other podcasts that do like.
How dare you?
I know. They do like campouts and stuff every year with all of their patrons.
What?
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. But if we were to ever aspire to the level of being able to host like a campground, because Richard and Kaylin, the Wayward Pine Camp, summer camp, right? That'd be fucking awesome. I'd be down for that.
Do you know that for our side quests, we talk about stopping at other people's campgrounds?
No, what are you talking about? We're certainly not stealing s'mores and beer from those places. I realize that we've set up an entire alternate ego on those side quests. It's like we just walk around and steal shit all the fucking time. But no, I would love to be able to host like a summertime campground get together with our patrons in which I had a boat that we could take out onto the water.
This is a fantasy now.
You just want to show off your boat.
100% fantasy.
You just want to show off your boat.
No, the point of having a boat, that's why I've always wanted a big-ass pontoon boat.
Oh, yeah.
Because I don't have to go fast. I don't have to be flashy. I want to get all of my friends and family and all of my people out on the boat for a fucking party on the water.
Here's the good thing for you.
That's my ultimate dream for a boat.
Here's the good thing for you.
They're cheap. I know. I've been looking at them.
Nope. That's not what I was going to say. We aren't buying a boat right now. We're waiting a long ass time because those things are expensive.
But Jackal King did just point out you can just rent a boat. We've done that.
That is true. My point was just going to be that.
Hat.
Calm down. Let me finish what I'm trying to fucking say.
I get excited about boats.
This podcast is going to last a long time. So by the time we're done, you're going to be an old man and you'll be allowed to have a boat.
What's that, Billy?
Not that you're allowed. Like, I don't have to give you permission. But yeah, I'm not going to buy a fucking boat till we're old.
My boat is my old man dream. That's my retirement.
But yes, we could rent one before then. You've
100%.
I've thought about doing that recently.
I can drive anything with wheels and most things without. Yeah. Skill I have.
Oh.
I have another question for you guys.
Sure.
Dumbest injury that you're willing to admit to.
All right, I already know my answer to this. Jade, what do you got?
I can go first.
I've got to process some trauma.
I can go first if
No, I think my dumbest one, like, I don't have that many, because, listen, I know my limitations, okay? So, when I was younger, and, doing illicit things, I would be a little bit more able to do things, and I hurt myself more, but those weren't that dumb. The most recent thing I did was I tried to chase somebody while I was drinking at a bar, and then I fell and scraped my knee up, and then was a big-ass baby about it. And Nate had to, Jade, we have to clean your wound. And I was like, no, I don't want you to. So that was probably I literally
That is
fell.
not the first time I've cleaned up blood at a bar.
No, but I fell in front of, all of our biker friends that were smoking out on a balcony. I was like, ha, 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 I'm chasing you. And then I fell in front of a whole bunch of people. And,
but everybody felt
my
bad
knee.
for you after that happened. There's not a soul in the building
Yeah, but
that
I
was
thought
heartless and was like, she was being dumb and drunk.
I thought I was a badass, and I was running, and then I fell, and it was embarrassing. And stupid Steve outran me.
My story also involves that particular individual.
He's just bad for us.
I love my friends very much, but while we were younger, they're still kind of dicks, but they're dicks in a better way. When we were younger, they were just fucking mean, and so they used to do this thing. My buddy had a small Ford Ranger. It was bright yellow. It had cool decals on the side. It was awesome. They didn't let me in the cab, as friends are wont to do. They lock the door and drive a few feet. So I climbed onto the back of the tailgate.
Yeah, because you think you're a badass.
Right. And so what my friends decided to do was gun it, and I was climbing into the bed of the truck.
Bye, Caro!
Oh, bye, Caro.
Bye.
It was nice hanging out with you.
Thank you for joining us.
Fuck yeah.
Okay, continue.
Okay, so basically he gunned it. I slipped. My head hit the trailer hitch, and then I slid on the ground for about 10 solid feet.
Oh,
on my face.
Real
I
solid.
have the scar right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, missing a good chunk of skin out of my own face.
Beautiful.
What makes the story absolutely ridiculous is that I went to a hospital, I got stitched up, and then I tried to lie to my dad about what had happened. I made an incredibly stupid story about Steve's truck slipping out of gear and hitting me, and then he's like, whoa, that's funny. That's not what the neighbor said when he called me exactly 10 seconds after it happened. Said, hey, don't know if you know this, your kid just slipped off the back of a truck and got up and walked away bleeding out of his face.
Probably has a concussion. No big deal.
He was very upset with me. He's like, well, at least you got it stitched up. And then, my dad has never done this before. He flicked my stitches with his fingers, with the back of his middle finger.
Yeah,
I was like, is that slang for something?
No. He just whopped him with his middle finger, like flicked it.
He was like, you dummy.
Yeah.
How'd that feel?
It hurt very much, and I also deserved it. We've talked about this now at the bar a few times. He's like, hey, remember when you were an absolute dumbass? I'm like, yeah. But yeah, that's my stupidest injury.
I stepped into a sprinkler head cover when I was golfing. I couldn't see it. However, I had been drinking, so there was a reason I couldn't see it. That was over a year ago now, and I still have knee pain from it. So, I feel like that's the dumbest one. I've had other more serious injuries, but I would argue they're not exactly dumb. So, I think that's the dumbest. I'm still dealing with knee pain.
I was gonna say knees suck.
14 months after. Because I was golfing and drinking at the same time.
I'm looking at a few of these answers.
Oh, there's some real
chat.
good ones in here.
Sarah says, I was just at an outdoor music festival, which, Sarah, I am extremely jealous of you. That sounds like a fantastic time.
Yeah.
She says, I slipped on a grassy hill, scraped the hell out of my knees and elbows, and then landed in some guy's lap. Super graceful. Oh no.
Sounds like you just
I
found
hope
a
he
best
was
friend.
cool about it. The last outdoor concert we went to, I had an old man try and pick a fight with me. That's extreme. He didn't really try and pick a fight. He told me to sit down. Me and like 2,000 other people. And I was like, no, man, I know I'm in the back, but like...
He just tried to yell at us.
He was the only person sitting down in a crowd of like 2,000 people, and he was trying to tell me, who was like 10 rows in front of him, to sit down. And I was like,
no, what I really
sorry,
enjoyed is that there was, not everyone was fully standing, but by the end of the show, everyone but him was. And I pettily took videos of him sitting behind us,
all
being
upset and angry.
Yeah. To be
Dan
fair,
says, why is my first thought bloody blowy?
To be fair,
it
was the Dead Sows at Frederick Meyer Garden, which if you aren't from like West
the Dead
Michigan,
South was at Frederick Meyer Gardens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh boy, that was an awkward show.
He was, a older gentleman that probably didn't know what he was actually coming to watch, and was like,
"That's what it was.
To sit down and watch music and enjoy it." And we were like, "No, this is a folk music situation."
What year was this?
Last year.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yeah.
I used to work there, so I was like, if this was like 7 years ago, I served you
summer
beer.
Concert series.
No.
I worked those.
No.
I was the main beer pour. I would have served you beer at those concerts.
It was last year.
That would have been
fantastic. It was the boys'
fantastic.
first concert, actually.
I want to read an email. I've been waiting to read this, Aaron, to you specifically.
Oh,
for quite a while.
Okay.
This email comes in from one of our lovely patrons, Maria.
What's her name?
Maria Luisa Pereira. I want you all to know, I was just making full eye contact with Aaron. I don't even got to look at the screen anymore. I know Maria's name, and that will forever be with me. She wrote this email to us some months ago before we got to the Bloody Blowy.
Oh boy.
Knowing that you had not read the books yet. And I love this email so much. I want to say this is one of my favorite emails that we've gotten. So I want to read this to all of you because this is just fucking fantastic. It is a little bit long, so bear with me, but I think it pays off in the end.
Does she say sorry for the long email at the end?
She does not, and I do not blame her for that. She says, hey guys, The Temple of the Winds is my favorite book of the series. Only because at the end of the book, I got angry with the disgusting prophecy. I was a young adult, 19 years old and fresh in the country too. USA, by the way, she's originally Brazilian, which I thought was fucking awesome. I just finished watching season 1 of Legend of the Seeker, and at the time, I thought the show was over. I love Kaylin's character from the show, I knew the TV show was based on a book. Yeah, fuck,
Kaylin is amazing.
Ass,
she will stab literally any motherfucker.
Which our cameo video, I watch that probably once a month. We're like, hey Nate, hey Jade, hey Aaron, didn't know there was a Sword of Truth podcast. And I'm like, fuck yeah, there is, Kaylin. She said, I researched and Terry made 12 books. I was like, wow, 12 books, going to take me years to finish the Sword of Truth series. The only books I read were the Harry Potter series. You two are dancing. So Terry Goodkind was my first instruction in American literature.
Oh.
Yeah. Like, she left her country to come to a new country, read this book series. That was her introduction into American literature. I'm like, wow, that is fucking insane.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Wouldn't be my first pick.
No, me either. I mean, like, obviously we love this series. We're
yeah.
doing a fucking podcast about it. But I was just like, wow, for this specific fantasy series to be your first foray into American literature, that's incredible.
Yes.
I don't know. Jade's doing a little...
Incredible.
She's dancing. She's
Incredible?
Yeah.
I think that's Spanish.
I'm listening. I'm so focused. I just sat back down. I'm sorry.
This is why we drink during the podcast, is because this is our hangout and Jade is vibing right now.
I am. I'm feeling the energy in the room.
Okay, so the only other books that she had read were the Harry Potter series. I was going to point out, same for me. Mm-hmm. Once I got past my I'm too cool to read idiot phase, I read Harry Potter first. And so me and Maria have a lot in common.
Hannibal, Frankenstein, Harry Potter.
I read the horror classics first, and then I read the Hannibal series because I was afraid to read anything that was not going to be viewed by a complete stranger as not cool.
Oh,
you didn't want to be looked at as a pussy.
Right. I don't know about that. Pussies are strong.
They are, but you didn't know that at the time.
I was in a place where I had to protect my own masculinity.
Yeah,
I am much more comfortable in it now.
Exactly.
And don't give a shit. I play Magic. I play D&D. I'm a nerd. Yeah. Bring it, bitch. But yes, back to the email. After watching Legend of the Seeker, I thought the book was going to be very similar to the TV show, and how different from the Harry Potter series they are, both fantasy books. So I started reading, and I could not stop. It took me less than 2 weeks to get to book 4.
Damn.
Which is fucking incredible. I could not do that if you paid me to do that. You guys know that disgusting things happen, like the ball eating and the nipple guy doing his sisters and the Mord Sith. In my head, it was all good. They're all bad people, and they got what was coming for them. I liked the series so much that I had a day off from work, and I started reading book 4, and I spent all day reading it. I got to the part where Kaylin got her period, so I thought it was cool that Kaylin has a period. I wonder if Kaylin uses magical tampons. No, Kaylin bleeds normally and uses towels. Okay. Why Terry made Kaylin get her period, I don't know. Probably nothing sexual. Probably nothing sexual. Kaylin will stop having her period, and then we'll know she's pregnant or something like that. Well, forgive me. I was only 19 years old and very innocent. I got to the big reveal, and I was shocked. I was like, what? Kaylin sucks Richard's bloody dick, and then Richard is mad at her? Kaylin didn't even betray him. And then she asks the question, did I read wrong? So I closed the book. I stopped reading. She says, I am done with this book. Terry Goodkind is sick. The book is disgusting. I'm not going to read the series anymore. I was shocked, and I didn't look at the book for weeks. So then one day I thought, well, if I'm so disgusted about this book, it's because it's good. I fucking love that. Never in my life has a book ever shocked me in that way, so I finished The Temple of the Winds, and she's continued to read the series. Love your podcast. Keep up the good work. Love you all. Thank you, Maria Luisa S. Pereira. She had written an email shortly after that, Aaron, where she specifically wanted to know, you coming in as not having read any further in the series, how shocking was that for you? I know you're a big fan of Wheel of Time, and I don't really know the parallels.
Yes.
Like how, like you were mentioning earlier about how like they'll kind of veer away a little bit from sexual content.
That is exactly the book series I was referring to.
Yeah, okay.
Because they do. They get close to the subject and then cut away. And so it is off air. And so, yeah, like I said earlier, it wasn't quite as shocking just because we already had everything with Denna. And we had the Spirit House.
You had already been shocked before.
Yeah, so it was like, oh, like I now know what I've signed up for. However, it was one of those things where it's like, and so usually, which adds another layer to this stuff, I'm usually listening to these chapters while I'm at work. And the Bloody Blowy was definitely one of those things where I like hit my earbuds, hit pause, and it was like, well, that is something that just happened.
I have an interesting concept. The fact that the Bloody Blowy was so shocking is obviously the fact that it was period blood and not regular blood. Because
that too.
Because the reality is, Richard was probably pretty bloody when whatever happened between him and Denna.
Oh yeah. Different bloody.
Yeah,
definitely different bloody.
I want to shout out real quick to Jackal King. I have not read the Angela Constantine series yet. I am fully intending on doing that soon. I have seen so many people write in and comments online as well saying that if you haven't read it, you absolutely have to.
Is that part of this series or is that a separate series?
That's totally separate.
It's not anything
but
sort of truth.
As far
related.
as I know, no, it's not related to Sword of Truth.
But it was written by Terry Goodkind?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Law of the Nines. Or Law of Nines.
Yeah, Law of Nines.
Is related.
Oh, okay.
There's one more note on our little thing here.
I think we're going to do some of what we have left on our notes for the little hangout that we're doing with our patrons for after the episode.
Both of those things? Because I don't know what one of them is. Okay.
What's Jade? Are you saying that there might be more that we're going to discuss a little bit later?
I suppose.
And that is something that is only going to be accessible to our patrons.
I guess so.
Oh, that is an interesting truth.
That's right.
There's something big and hard that keeps moving around the list. I don't understand what it is.
Well, I want to thank every single one of you for hanging out with us today. I will be the first to say I was a little nervous. Live episodes make me nervous. Every time we've done one of these things, I've gotten all the way through it and then realized I'm just being an idiot. Because every time we do a live episode with you guys are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
We always have such a good time. Never any negative vibes.
Our patrons carry us through.
Our patrons do carry us through. They carry the weight of this entire podcast on
their
backs.
fucking shoulders.
And we fucking appreciate every single one of them. They are my heroes. I mean that.
Are they the ones you give the dedication to?
Yeah, every night when I say my prayers, it's really to all of our patrons.
Father patrons.
That's right. Exactly.
Guide us.
Patrons guide us. Patrons protect us. That's exactly how it goes.
Yeah.
No, I mean that. I appreciate every single one of you that decided to hang out with us here today. We could not do this thing without you. People say that all the time, but
and our listeners, we are.
I mean that. Like, it's true.
Yeah.
It would not be the same without you guys. And so we appreciate you so fucking much. And now for everybody that's going to hear this on the regular episode, if you wanted to let us know what you thought, you can write an email to podcastatt@gmail.com, or you can follow us on any of our social medias. If you really enjoyed what you heard today and you wanted to chat with us and talk with us and fuck around with us on more live episodes just like this one, you can head over to patreon.com/podcastatt and make a pledge of any amount that grants you access to the Discord in which we are hanging out with all of our patrons now.
Right now and after this episode. So if you're there right now,
that's right.
Like if you're with us right now currently, hi, how you doing?
Thank you very much for listening.
And we'll see you real soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I wasn't ready.